Alright you lot, so recently I did a video on a basic introduction, mastering your tunes, getting them out to SoundCloud, getting the levels up with Ozone, and in that we had a little discussion, or it was brought to my attention, about Chase and Status Badadan being like way up here, mega loud. So I've gone and got the WAV file of that track, dug into it, and I figured I'd show you guys how, if you wanted to, you can get that kind of level out of a track, what you need to do for it. So the format of this video, we're going to do a bit of analysis, look at a couple of tracks in RX, look at the numbers, and then I'm going to go over the kind of material that you're going to need and how we can go about getting those mega levels should you want to do it. Now my preface is it sounds crap for the most part. It's distorted almost all the way through. It's not a good listening experience. We'll look at some of the numbers as to why that is in some cases. However, dropping this tune in the club on a massive sound system that's going to rip your heart out, I do get it, but generally you don't want to do this for like a listening experience of music. Just dive into it anyway, you've asked for it. Please bear in mind I can only play my tracks, even for educational purposes. There's no fair usage in music, so I've got the tracks, I can't play the audio. I had a look at trying to lease them, can't get the leases for these on YouTube. So we'll have to have a look at the numbers regardless. So let's grab this. In this, I've got what's called the waveform statistics. This is going to show some key info. Now, the first thing was people are saying that Badadan is limited to -2 LUFS. It is and isn't. We look at integrated LUFS, that's the loudness across the whole track, and we can see here integrated loudness is -4.9, so it is -5 LUFS, which is disgusting. For contrast, the loudest track in the top 100 in 2023 was, I think, Harry Styles at -6. Unnecessary. What we do have is a max momentary of 1.5, which is disgusting, and a short term of -2.5, also disgusting. I want to put this in context of something. A couple of other tracks, my favourite track of last year, Sudley and Mbappe, if we grab that, max momentary loudness -2, max short term -4.2, slightly more accessible, integrated loudness -7, alright? Now, if we take the loudest part of the track, so let's go max short term at -4.2, which is right here, that's still pretty damn loud, and it's the loudest part of the track. The overall integrated comes down quite a bit because we've got this nice long intro, big open breaks, and the big breakdown here that we don't have in Badadan, right? What we've got in Badadan is a loud intro, a loud longer segment, the big heavy drop, another loud breakdown segment, big heavy drop. So the overall integrated LUFS comes up quite a bit. Now if we grab the loudest short term in here though, -2.5, right here towards the end. I picked up another track that I remembered hearing and it was excessively loud to the point I thought it was detrimental to the tune. I've got the Creeper VIP right here. I don't have the WAV for this one, but look, -2 all the way up at -5.5, like too loud. I think this would have done way better being more punchy. I think this, in fact, this whole album gets lost by being too loud and crunched and distorted, which is a real shame. So that's another one that's in that kind of ballpark that we could look at. But equally, Deg's Outlaw right here, look at this. -6 LUFS, so it's loud as hell, but look at the space and punchiness and dynamics that are still left in that. There's room to do it, and we're still looking at -2.4 LUFS max momentary right here, and you know, -4.2 on the short term. It is almost as loud in those key moments where it's smacking proper hard as Badadan. Just the overall loudness of this tune never lets up. It is relentlessly loud the whole time. Something else I wanted to highlight as well is true peak level. Now, for some reason, this peaks by nearly 2 dB. That means when it gets up to 0, there's a little bit of space where something could correct. The overshoot could be up to 2 dB. If you're playing this back at lower quality, Spotify MP3, 128 kbps, for example, in your little earbuds and you've got your volume cranked, it's going to distort by up to 2 dB at times in the track, which would sound crap atop of all the other distortion that's already going on. This doesn't have to happen. If we grab Creeper, which we looked at as equally just as loud and aggressive, true peak value 0 dB. It's not going to be clipping or popping out at any of those points. So it's interesting that that's the case as well. Why it's not true peak limited, or at least the version that I managed to get here, which is a WAV file rather than MP3, isn't true peak limited, I don't really know, but it's an interesting one. I do wonder if the Spotify distribution has got the 1 dB of headroom, which would stop that happening, but who knows. Anyway, let's now take one of my tracks. I needed something that had some kind of context and similar format. I had to think back because I hadn't done a track like this for ages, but I've decided we'll go over Trouble in the Hood, which is my 2018 track that absolutely tanked because the music video was banned when we tried to promo it. But I can do this section and go down that sort of line. Now, I brought the master up in here just so we can look comparatively at the numbers as well. As you can see here, it's a little quieter than the other tracks we've been looking at, minus 7.5 LUFS. But the momentary at -4, the short term at -5. I could just push this a little bit harder and really get it up at that same sort of level, I reckon. So we're going to take the mix, Trouble in the Hood's 24-bit bounce, 44.1, the mix version here. All those beautiful dynamics are going to get crushed out. But I also want to do something else that I noticed in the Chase and Status Master. The way that they've got this part here, this is your main big nasty drop, to impact so hard, is that they are limiting the absolute levels that can happen here. As you can see, the intro is loud and distorted. It's already incredibly loud, but it's not up here at 0. There is some headroom. And the same thing here, this has been compressed really, really hard, and the whole signal's being pushed, but there's still headroom of a couple of dB. And then they're really letting it fly here for the main section, so you get just that one little bit of bump a little bit higher. And I think we can utilize that in here. If I take the verse sections down a touch, listen, it's all good, it's calm. I ain't trying to cause no harm. All I'm trying to... and then let it ramp up here, I think we can achieve the same sort of thing. Because in the actual master, everything's just kind of pushed up to a nice level where it's all consistent. I think if we take these down a dB or so, and then we push this even harder, we can achieve it. So let's have a look in Logic using Ozone how we would do that. Today's video is sponsored by DistroKid. They let me get my music out to all of the major distributors, and they do that at a price an independent artist can easily afford. If you're ready to get your music or beats out there and want to release an unlimited amount of music each year, check the link in the description below for a discount off of your first year of unlimited distribution with DistroKid. Okay, in Logic we have brought in the mix. Very quickly, we're just going to do a quick top and tail like we would regularly. So we pretend we're doing the whole master job. So we're just going to throw that in there, zoom in here. I'm going to do this way without even listening to it, so we can just see that audio right there. And we can tail it off about here. Give ourselves a little fade. We'll bring the end of the track right up to that. Wonderful. Cool. So I'm going to do a little bit of groundwork real quick. I am going to bring in Ozone. I'll do it on the channel here like we did before. What I'm going to do though is bring Badadan into Ozone for its curve, because I want to see the overall curve that it used to get such a loud level, and then we'll see if we can adjust our track to push it just that little bit further. And if we don't find that works, then we'll absolutely just go ahead and use like Plastic World or something like that, like I normally would. That's going to be excessively loud. Cool beans. So I'm going to go over here into custom, and I want to add a new target in, and we're going to go and grab a Badadan, hopefully. And we'll just let it process that and see what kind of curve it gives us. I'm expecting it's going to adjust this way too loud now, but let's see. I'm just going to go into here real quick. Check the max. Yeah, it's giving me plus 20 dB on the maximizer. So just going to switch that off before I blow my own head off. And there's our curve for Badadan. Look how tight that is. It's so specifically tight. So I'm also now going to go on the stereo out. I'm going to go into tonal balance. And I'm going to bring the curve into there as well. Cool, so we've got two representations of the same tune now. Now balance wise, it's done a terrible job. We're going to have to sort of fix this ourselves. But we want to get our track to be somewhat following that curve, because we know that's the kind of way we can push that up a lot in terms of the luffs. Just out of curiosity, with the maximizer on. That's disgusting and sounds awful, but the low end is controlled. All right, let's go through it and figure it out. Now, first things first, yeah, it's done that. We don't want that on the low end. There's no way I want to push that up that much. There's already plenty down there. I take the maximizer, drop it way back so I can audibly hear what's going on, and then we'll look to get up there later. Don't want the upward compression on either currently. Okay. So it's like a general balance. Just going to loop over this section right here. I'm going to focus on getting that as impactful as possible, close to the curve. So I'm going to have to nip down a little bit on the tops here. I can bring loads of that up around the 700 range, which is more up here. Yeah. I gotta say, in a master, I wouldn't usually want to be like breaking past 3 dB, but we might have to break some rules in this instance here today. But we're trying to do something well out of the regular scope, right? I think for this like 5 to 700 region, it's just that I don't have all that much in this track. But what we could potentially do is utilize some saturation to bring it in instead. So I'm going to get rid of impact for the minute. I'm going to bring in the exciter. I'm going to bring that just before EQ, and from like here to about here, this range right here, I'm going to give us a load of extra harmonics in that range. It's getting us somewhere closer, isn't it? So we're looking like we could maybe bring this down close to the 300. Right, we're sort of approaching the limit of what we can put in there. And if we're looking around 400, we can give it a little bit more of a bump up here. Alright. I mean, that's a dirty big boost for a master. But we're getting closer to that range. Now, up here is now becoming a little much, but I'm going to look to control that, probably with impact. So we're going to bring this all the way up to like the 200, and I control it with this low end here. Now like 1.5k on the EQ, come up a little bit further. Right here. So that's horrible in terms of an EQ, but we're closer to that curve that we now know we can push a lot louder, right? Impact's literally just controlling that. Don't really want it doing anything else. imager wise, bring it down to make sure it's controlling them. Honestly, do that. Interesting that it zeroed everything out. That's kind of wild. I don't know that I would agree with that. Let's have some width in the track, right? Okay, so we're gonna have to do a cut at about 150. I don't know how many more bands I can even add here. Relatively narrow, about a dB and a half. I want to see maybe even like 2 dB out there, 2.5. That's disgusting. Look at that. Alright. So clarity and balance wise, we can shift clarity a little bit. It's doing a good job holding everything here. I wonder if we tilt it, it might give us that bit more in the mids we need. Take the attack down to like 40, release to like 160. That's closer. We just don't have anything in this range really. There is later, it's got vocal in there. Yeah, okay. And that's filling out that curve pretty spot on there. So we should, in theory, be able to get that mega loud. Stabilizer wise, I don't want it doing that to the low end, so we take that away. We'll let it have that control. Dynamic EQ, just taking out the harshes, we'll trust it. So, how do we now go about getting that loudness? I want to get this part, this section here, disgusting loud, like we had with Badadan. I'm going to have to soft clip, I'm going to have to go high. I don't usually push this really between a couple of percent, but I think we're going to have to go quite vicious with this. So you remember those loudest tracks, we were like -2 momentary and like short term, well, -2, -4. I'm going to look to push it around that kind of regions in the momentary and short term. Not too bothered about the integrated because the track's built differently. We're going to utilize that same, dropping it down a couple of dB and bumping it up in those key moments. In a minute, I'm trying to get around those kind of levels. Upward compression, realistically we can have about 3 dB, if that. Take it to very fast. Now true peak, we're not going to worry about it, we'll let it go to 0. We're going to limit again afterwards. Alright. So we get in there, but we've still got a way to go. So after the maximizer, vintage limiter, leaving true peak off, leaving the ceiling at 0. Let's go modern. Alright, so we're sort of there now. Maybe push it a little harder than -3. I hate it, and I think there's no impact from the drums. It's just all loud. We can maybe use a bit of transient emphasis and try and get some of that back. So we're getting a little bit of the transient back and a little bit of impact of the drums. There's just nowhere for anything to go. It's at the cost of like half a laugh. But we're still up there. We're there. So let's see now if you're using something like the transient algorithm, for example, we can get that -2 LUFS, -2.5 range. I saw it then. So we're in the -2 range, adding 10 dB, using the transient with a bit of the transient emphasis into the vintage limiter, not using true peak, letting it overshoot, which it did show it clipped in Logic, even though it stopped at exactly 0. According to this, it's going 0.8 over. Badadan's 2 dB over somehow. Stop the gunshot. Alright, so the thing to do next would be we'll play around with this threshold automation right here. So we are going to go into here. I'm just going to hit touch so that I can touch that and get the automation name for it. And we'll switch it back to read. So then here we can draw this in. So at this moment here, it comes to -3 for this part of the track. And we can have it so it eases off. Like 1.5 for here, and these sections here comes back down to like 2.5. Same for this starting section here, right? Say 2.5-ish, maybe even lesser on the intro, yeah? You can bring that volume in over time, but it's not immediately decimating our faces. And the loudest sections here, ease it off again.
In that way, everywhere I go, I'm seeing this face and that face. Better watch out, I'm saying better watch out. There's trouble in my...
Yeah, it's too much. So I'm gonna have to take that to like -2.
Any roadblocks this way and that way, everywhere I go, I'm seeing this face and that face. Better watch out, I'm saying better watch out. There's trouble in... I'm seeing this face and that face. Better watch out, I'm saying better watch out. There's trouble in my hood. There's trouble in my hood.
Alright, so then stop the gunshot. We drop back into that section there. We can go boop, crush that right down again.
Yeah, stop the gunshot.
Yeah. Let that tear out.
In your face, click on your social media, yeah, I'm there. I'm about my money, baby, your circle, I'm square.
Listen, I ain't talking.
Alright, now that, we're obviously going to have to give it that run back because I've got a massive sub bass in that. I'm gonna have to give that all of that back like this.
I'm there, I'm about my money, baby, your circle, I'm square.
Listen, I ain't talking crud, you're vexed like you walked in mud and you crack on. Trust me, G, it ain't just you they're sleeping on. Don't wanna hear bars that deep and long and everybody feels it's wrong. Yeah, they can rap, but can they really, really write a song? Been holding my bra for a while, still I'm on this thing. Back in the day they used to laugh, but now I got big bars of them. Man's ain't ready for the roads that I'm delivering, and it ain't even cold till I got these man them all shivering.
I'm there, I'm about my money, baby, your circle, I'm square.
Listen, I ain't talking crud, you're vexed like you walked in mud and you crack on. Trust me, G, it ain't just you they're sleeping on. Don't wanna hear bars that deep and long and everybody feels it's wrong. Yeah, they can rap, but can they really, really write a song? Been holding my bra for a while, still I'm on this thing. Back in the day they used to laugh, but now I got big bars of them. Man's ain't ready for the roads that I'm delivering, and it ain't even cold till I got these man them all shivering.
Square and I'm circle, tell me how it's been.
Alright, so then there, we're going to have to bring it right back down to -3. So what we're going to have to do here is just before these, we've got a second EQ we can use, haven't we? There. We're going to have to give ourselves a roll off on the low end. So we're going to flip this into digital. And we're going to want a flat high pass like so. We need to figure out...
Baby, your circle, I'm square.
Listen, I ain't talking crud, you're vexed like you walked in mud and you crack on. Trust me, G, it ain't just you they're sleeping on. Don't wanna hear bars that deep and long and everybody feels it's wrong. Yeah, they can rap, but can they really, really write a song? Been holding my bra for a while, still I'm on this thing. Back in the day they used to laugh, but now I got big bars of them. Man's ain't ready for the roads that I'm delivering, and it ain't even cold till I got these man them all shivering.
Square and I'm circle, tell me how.
So we're having to roll out loads of that low end up at 35 to give us the headroom to really take the sub away from that riff.
Listen, I ain't talking crud, you're vexed like you walked in mud and you crack on. Trust me, G, it ain't just you they're sleeping on. Don't wanna hear bars that deep and long and everybody feels it's wrong. Yeah, they can rap, but can they really, really write a song? Been holding my bra for a while, still I'm on this thing. Back in the day they used to laugh, but now I got big bars of them. Man's ain't ready for the roads that I'm delivering, and it ain't even cold till I got these man them all shivering.
Square and I'm circle, tell me how it feels when you're 11 years old, dashing weight on the scales. When you take that same weight and dash it back in some film, can you wrap it up, stack it up and shot it on roll? Yo, better watch out, I said you better watch out.
And we'll just let it roll out from there. As you can see, it is brutally hard to get something this loud. The sections of it I can get it, but where we've got like actual breakdowns and things like this, or where we've got things where the music changes, it's so friggin' hard to adjust for it and keep everything consistently this loud. Like this section's just making it
Circle, I'm square.
Listen, I ain't
because of that low end.
You walked in mud and you crack on. Trust me, G, it ain't just you they're sleeping on. Don't wanna hear bars that deep and long and everybody feels it's wrong. Yeah, they can rap, but can they really, really write a song? Been holding my bra for a while, still I'm on this thing. Back in the day they used to laugh, but now I got big bars of them. Man's ain't ready for the roads that I'm delivering, and it ain't even cold till I got these man them all shivering.
So from there, let's bounce it out and compare where we are at in terms of getting it as loud and savage as Badadan. Let's have a look numbers wise where we're at. Alright, it's louder. Get in. However, it's at the detriment of the tune. So let's take it back into Logic and let's look at a little bit more automation. And what we're going to do now instead is we're going to take down the vintage limiter's ceiling, this part here, and control it that way. So I'm going to pop you on touch, wiggle the ceiling and it will snap to it for us. Back to read. We can do effectively the same thing to be fair, right? Except I want the ceiling to be able to come like -1 there, maybe like -2 at the start, and like we'll let it sweep in, even though it's only got a tiny segment to go. And when this section comes in, boom, we let it go all the way to 0, and then here bring it back off, we give it a dB of headroom again. This section here, boom, we can let it absolutely cook, can't we? Think.
In this space and that space, better watch out. I said you better watch out. There's trouble in my hood. There's trouble in my hood.
Alright, and when the vocals and whatnot come back in again, give it another dB of headroom. The full tilt here in this section again. I think what we can do here is let that come down by like 1 dB just for that moment and thwack it back up.
Gassed off the gunshot.
And yeah, get it back up like immediately, like basically giving it fake dynamics. That can then have the full level again.
Warning, warning, people is coming, it's coming. You better put on your hat, people are running, they're running. Taking the trip down the dirty south side.
And then this section here that was giving us trouble.
Baby, your circle, I'm square.
Listen, I ain't talking crud.
Well, now we know that we were already pretty damn loud. We can bring this down to around -8 now. Give ourselves 2 dB.
Square.
Listen, I ain't talking crud. You're vexed like you walked in mud and you crack on. Trust me, G, I ain't just you there sleeping on. Don't wanna hear bars that deep as long and everybody feels it's wrong.
So let's bounce that out and check that against it and see if we're somewhat in that ballpark. And I think we've probably nailed down the key things they're doing to get this tune so wildly loud. Alright, so we can see not precisely what they've done, because there's still a little bit of pretend dynamic going on here. And we're still pushing straight up into like a very digital looking sausage. But at the start, we've definitely got the right idea, yeah?
Listen, it's all good, it's calm. I ain't trying to cause no harm. All I'm trying to do is live my life and cop a cup. Still I'm
Get that bit of extra level.
Then they wouldn't even leave the yard. This long chat, been there, seen there, done that. And what it's all about, these lot are gassed off the gun chat.
Now the integrated's less, but I've got longer intros, longer breakdown sections, longer tune. Max and momentary, right in that ballpark.
Better watch out, I say you better watch out. There's trouble in my hood, there's trouble in my hood. Okay, better watch out, I say you better watch out. There's trouble in my hood, there's trouble in my hood. Oh, see, I grew up in a place where there's bear traps. Y'all are getting doggied out in flat, straight bear back.
Sweet. So I think the way to get the like dynamic they've got here would be to reduce the signal going in rather than just pull the overall headroom down, but still have it so it's limited. It's hard to explain. Basically, it's like going into a clipper all the time rather than getting limited, so it's getting soft clipped. I think that's probably what's going on here. And then it's hard limit here, look, solid scene, rather than pulling that ceiling down, but still keeping it mega loud, and then this section brutally loud. But we're in that ballpark. You could keep tweaking it and getting it there, but you know, it's as loud as holds together. So that's sort of how you would do it. You need that minimal amount of things. Like in this case, we've got bass tops. Like fitting bits with the vocal and subbing.
Better watch out, I say you better watch out.
Gassed off the gun chat.
That makes a difference, putting that little automation in that brought it down a dB to then come back up. We hear that and feel like that works.
Gassed off the gun chat.
But yeah, there you go, guys. That's how we would go about really smacking something up and getting it to that kind of Badadan loud mastered level. I hope it was helpful. I won't be doing it again. Take care.